Hello and welcome to today's video where we're looking at Rule 10 traffic separation schemes. As always, we're going to look at the rule itself and then apply that rule in a couple of different situations. So firstly, when does the rule apply? Well, this rule applies to traffic separation schemes adopted by the organisation and does not relieve any vessel of her obligation under any other rule. So the TSS must be adopted by the IMO and all the other rules still apply. A vessel using traffic separation scheme shall proceed in the appropriate traffic lane in the general direction of traffic flow for that lane. So we can see now these two vessels are following the traffic separation scheme. They're in the appropriate lane following the general direction of flow as indicated by the arrows. So far as practicable, keep clear of a traffic separation line or separation zone. Separation lines and zones are the magenta areas on the chart. Clearly the bit between the lanes is the separation zone and the bits at the edges are the separation lines. Normally join or leave a traffic lane at the termination of the lane, but when joining or leaving from either side shall do so at as small an angle to the general direction of traffic flow as practicable. So the blue vessel is coming out to leave at as small an angle as is safe and practicable. She's going to a port along the side of the traffic separation scheme, and the green vessel has left at the termination of the lane. A vessel shall, so far as practicable, avoid crossing traffic lanes, but if obliged to do so, shall cross on a heading as nearly as practicable at right angles to the general direction of traffic flow. So now the red vessel wants to cross the traffic lanes. They've got to maintain a heading at right angles to the direction of flow in each of the lanes. They've got to get straight across as quick as they can. But what happens if there's a tide or a wind blowing the vessel sideways? Well, they've still got to maintain that heading at right angles. Yes, they're going to be swept sideways and their ground track is not going to be at right angles, but their heading must be. You can see that the track over the ground that they followed is actually quite a long one, but they've maintained their right angle heading. The reason for this is you need to maintain aspect and get across the lane as quick as you can. And now we're on to the inshore traffic zones. Now not every traffic separation scheme will have these zones, but if it does it will be marked on the chart. And a vessel shall not use an inshore traffic zone when she can safely use the appropriate traffic lane within the adjacent traffic separation scheme. However, vessels less than 20 metres, sailing vessels and vessels engaged in fishing may use the inshore traffic zone. Notwithstanding the previous paragraph, of course, if you're en route to or from a port, offshore installation or structure, pilot station or other place within the inshore traffic zone, you may use it, or of course, to avoid immediate danger. A vessel other than a crossing vessel or a vessel joining or leaving a lane shall not normally enter a separation zone or cross a separation line, except in cases of emergency to avoid immediate danger, to engage in fishing within a separation zone. So this goes back to that first paragraph where it says vessels need to normally keep clear of separation lines and separation zones. A vessel navigating in areas near the terminations of the traffic separation scheme shall do so with particular caution. And of course here we're talking about the area where the green vessel is heading. Vessels are coming in and out of the traffic separation scheme. It's going to be busy. You need to navigate with particular caution. A vessel shall, so far as practicable, avoid anchoring in a traffic separation scheme or in areas near its terminations. Again, this makes sense. Don't anchor in that area. There's a TSS there because it's a busy area. A vessel not using a traffic separation scheme shall avoid it by as wide a margin as is practicable. Again, makes sense. If you're not using it, just stay well away. A vessel engaged in fishing shall not impede the passage of any vessel following a traffic lane. Now remember back to Rule 9, where the fishing vessels had to keep out of everybody's way. It's the same in a traffic separation scheme. If a vessel is following a traffic lane, a vessel engaged in fishing is not meant to impede you. And then vessels of less than 20 metres in length or a sailing vessel shall not impede the passage of a power-driven vessel following a traffic lane. So these two, there's less people that they're not meant to impede, but they're still meant to not impede the passage of power-driven vessels following traffic lanes. Then the final two paragraphs are exemptions to the rule. If you're restricted in your ability to manoeuvre, engaged in operation for the maintenance of safety of navigation in a traffic separation scheme, and if you're restricted in your ability to manoeuvre, engaged in laying, servicing, or picking up a submarine cable within a traffic separation scheme, both situations you're exempted from complying with this rule to the extent necessary to carry out the operation. And now I just want to have a look at one particular example of a crossing situation where we can see all the other rules still apply. So in this scene we've got the red vessel wanting to cross the traffic lanes. We know she's got to do so on a heading as nearly as practicable at right angles to the general direction of traffic flow. She's got herself in that position already. The passenger vessel is following the northeast lane and the blue bulk carrier is following the southwest lane. Now, the first situation, of course, the passenger vessel has to come round and give way. It's still a crossing situation, even though it's a traffic separation scheme. The fact that it's a traffic separation scheme just determines where the vessels are and the angle that the red one has to cross at. Once she gets into this second situation, of course, the red one becomes the give way vessel, and she has to come round for the other vessel. She's still trying to cross at right angles, but the crossing situation rule still applies. And that brings us to the end of Rule 10. We've seen how traffic separation schemes are different to normal situations, but all the other rules still apply. If you found the information useful, thumbs up is always appreciated. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them below. And to stay up to date with all videos that I publish, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Until next time, thank you for watching, and goodbye.